it's a light slate with a bunch of teams on bye. So it's just the Chargers and the Falcons. The game is being played in Atlanta. So Atlanta stays home. They are +3 at home. The total is 49.5. The news, as you alluded to earlier, looks like Keenan Allen suffered a setback, so he's not practicing. Josh Palmer's been cleared. And Parham, the tight end, has been cleared, but no Mike Williams for about a month or more. So this Chargers offense is still, even coming off the bye, not close to full strength. And then obviously, still missing Slater, still missing Bosa on defense, no JC Jackson, although that's probably addition by subtraction. But what do you think of this one with this kind of banged up Charger team going up against the ATS darlings, the Falcons?
Yeah, I'm thinking about back to the Chargers. I'm curious to get your thoughts on this because, like, number one, when you first look at the Chargers and you say, oh, their run D is really bad. The Falcons, that's what they do. They're going to control the clock here. The Chargers are allowing 5.7 yards per carry on the year. But then I dug into it a little bit because when I watched them, I'm like, well, the run defense looks better. And they added some pieces in the front seven. So I went and looked. They've given up runs. If you go with the most runs of 40+ yards this year, they give up like a 74-yarder to Kenneth Walker when they were down like 20. But they also give up a 52-yarder, another 50-yarder, a 75-yarder to Pierce, and then another 41-yarder. So they've allowed 5 carries of over 40 yards. If you remove those, and I'll explain why I'm going to do that here, they've only, on 164 carries, they've only allowed 4 yards per carry, which would be third in the NFL. That's why overall, when you don't remove those, they're 9th in success rate against the run. So what does that mean? Well, yeah, it's bad to give up 80-yard runs, obviously, and they might here. Cordell Patterson could come back too. But I was more concerned with like Atlanta controlling the clock and marching down the field. And I think the Chargers run D on a down-to-down basis is better than people think. And the other side, it's like AJ Terrell still isn't practicing. Casey Hayward's on IR. The Falcons get 0 pressure whatsoever. So the issues on the offensive line for the Chargers because of injuries aren't going to rear their ugly heads here. They should also be able to run well with Eckler against a bad run D. So Herbert's going to have time to throw here. And I do think that the Chargers defense against the run will have more success than people think. So the question then becomes, and Herbert's going to be throwing against a secondary that's probably missing multiple starters. Do I trust the wide receivers here off of a bye too? In Palmer, Carter,
Michael Bandy, maybe.
Do I trust this room? So I'm leaning on you here to give me your thoughts on what you think of them.
So I kind of thought of it the same thing, and I make the line about 3. I think the line is more or less correct, but I would lean Chargers because I do think it's similar to that spot where you back the Bengals against the Falcons, where this Falcons team is just. It's an explosive quarterback. I know he's going to be down some weapons, but you still got Eckler. They're still going to be able to run the ball. And I think it's just a spot where the Chargers can put up enough points here to, get more than just, okay, it's a field goal. But at the same time, and you told me this, it's like the Chargers always find a way to keep the opponent in it in the fourth quarter. And the Falcons, for more or less, have always found a way to kind of hang in there. So, at 3, it's probably a pass for me. I think if it for some reason got down to 2.5, which I don't think it will, I wouldn't mind the Chargers. But the key number is probably almost 1 or 1.5 with the Chargers, right? Because
live money line,
right,
down.
Yeah,
I don't think they'll have any problem coming back from a deficit in this particular game, especially if Terrell's out and Hayward's out and Hawkins is still hurt. Like their secondary, which is just decimated by injuries. And yeah, I think Herbert, and he's going to have time. That's the key. Like you give Herbert time with Eckler, and he's had 2 weeks to work with these receivers too, which I think is important to get some timing off the bye. Mm-hmm. So yeah, maybe that's the look. Falcons get down, look for them live like a pick.
Yeah, or better. The issue with Herbert this year has been he hasn't been throwing downfield the way we're used to. So with time, you would think he would. Although now the question is, well, without Mike Williams, what's the scheme going to be like? Because Mike Williams is really the guy you would go downfield to. Carter's more of a across the slants, get crossers, drags, just run away from a defensive back underneath. Palmer's outside guy, not necessarily a deep guy. So that's the only thing. The Chargers should be able to outscore this Falcons team just on brute. Our offense is better than your defense, and there's less of a gap between your offense and our defense. Like that should be enough here. But I personally, I just can't predict what Brandon Staley is doing. So like at 3, I would honestly pass, but I wouldn't mind it. Maybe money line parlay with something else or something like that, just so you don't have to worry about with the Brandon Staley.
money line parlay Chiefs and Chargers.
Yeah, there you go. Because like you never want to have to cover 3 with Staley. He's gonna fucking go for 2 and miss it. And it's just like,
what's gonna happen now? Chargers by 50. Yeah. And then my nemesis Titans beat the Chiefs.
Right. Yeah.
And then I'll lose by parlay.
on a over too. Like it'll be like 24-23 Titans.
By the way, we didn't mention this which is part of it too. Is Tannehill
might not go.
His updated status? We don't know, right? So that would obviously help the under. It obviously would help the Chiefs. That's hedged into the line. Like he could go. He might not. It could be Malik Willis again. If it is Malik Willis again, it's like probably going to be similar to the same game plan. It's like we're going to try to hand it to Derrick Henry a million times.